Good afternoon, students. Today, my name is Professor Neha Dave. We'll be starting today with the help of planning. We move with the help of management. We have learned different types of it. We learned into the last session the introduction of management. We have learned how the management into the organization, how it works, and into the organization how the different people are from the upper level to the ground level or a middle level. How each and every people corporate together, and afterwards they form with the help of certain terms and conditions which is already given into the managemental one. So management is the one type of it. We went like all over it we went. So we learned into that the management is the one type of it, the continuous process, and the most important thing, the management, it covers the whole part which we learned on the last sessions, which was the planning, directing, organizing, controlling and staffing. So this was the different types of components, and with the help of this type of components we perform a management. Now into that each and every one into the management, we have already seen that the management is art as well as a science. So why it has been said it's the art, why it has been said a science, we have learned into the last session. We went with a certain points internally, different we learned with the help of principles, we learned with the help of certain what are the importance of a management. Like when you into the organization, so like whatever the position it has been there, so like from why the management is important into the organization, because if you doesn't manage anything into the organizations, like you cannot set each and every work into the corrective one, or else each and everything will be like moving here and there. So this will be the terms, that is where the management is an important sources into the organization. So where the people who moves to the higher level to the ground level, each and everyone means into the management, like we move with the help of from the top level people to the ground level people, where we like have a commencement with the help of each and everyone from the upper level to the ground level. So that is why this is one part of it, management. So management is the one most important scope where you can complete it out each and every goal, and that goal which you can touch the pinnacle from the ground level to the upper level. Now we went as if we have discussed into the last sessions that into this management we are into the subjects, that's the management theories and practice. So into this you will be first moving with the help of a management. So into the thing is you will move in each and every terms. What are managements? We have already learned. We have learned the components. Now the components internal part will be moving about it. So now as you guys would be aware, with the help of planning, organizing, directing, controlling and staffing. So these are the 5 elements, and with the help of these 5 elements the thing is the management that has been performed. Now into these 5 elements I took one element that is called a planning. So today in today's sessions we'll be moving with the help of a planning. We'll be moving learning with the help of different types of planning, and with the help of different types of planning, how the planning is important. What are the plannings? You will be learning the core meaning of planning. So like today is into it, you will be moving into where you will be moving into what is planning, what are the elements of planning, how once you do the planning, you will be learning advantages of the planning, disadvantages of the planning. In this, you will be also learning a different types of sessions, which is like MBOs, that's a management by objectives, one type of it where terms and conditions are there, and with the help of the terms and condition, how you are having the, how you manage those planning into the management, into the organization, because planning is one type of it. First scope into the organization, the most important, the first priority is the planning, because without planning you cannot commencement anything into the business. Because if you doesn't plan, simple as if you want to go for a picnic also, before that you plan yourself, like what is the venue, where is the place, what's the location, how to travel, what are the charges, how many expenses would be there, what are the food items would we can collect, would we can take from here, or else does will be getting anything food items from there. So like already we do the Google, or else we are having different friends, and with the help of the friends we like have the connection with each and everyone. So like you contact with your friends, and then after you take those details, and with the after getting a details, you plan according to that. You even plan when the train has been going out, when the train has been halting. So according to that you leave, and then afterwards the thing is what you have suggested, the same suggestions, you perform the same duties over there, like whatever you have thought, means according to it you think like this need to do it, this need to perform, these are the expenses. So according to that only you keep at least 400 to 500 much with you. You know, as if you travel somewhere, minimum the cost will be 2000 rupees, but accordingly you plan that way, you keep at least 200 300 rupees extra. So at least with this, the thing is you can complete your work as soon as possible, and does not, because at any place when you go, if whatever the plan, do you think you execute the same plan, but for this execution also you require that type of it motivations, and that type of it values to perform that type of duties. So the most important thing, the planning make first zone into the organization or into any kind of management. So here we are, when you're performing any kind of duties into organization, so first part of an organization is the management. Now into the management, your first it is what planning. Without planning into the organization, you cannot perform any kind of duty. So that's what I said. So like into this subject, you will be moving into this chapter. You will be moving with the help of what are plannings, what are different sources of planning. We will be learning types of plannings, how the plannings are been done, who the plannings will be doing, who will be given this type of things to plan in the organization. Then afterwards, what are goals, the main concept of goal, and you will be also learning different types of analyzation, like as if when you're planning. So like first you analyze it, the environmental you analyze as well as internally as well as from the externally, means you will be learning a SWOT analysis, which you are like strength, weakness, opportunity and threat. These are the four elements of an environmental analyzation, that also we will be doing. But today we will be also moving with the help of how it is a decision making, means how you decide each and every work, and how you convince the people, because when you're planning you need to execute, that's the main thing. But because when you're planning you execute it. So how the thing is, whatever the planning what you do, so how it is being affected to you, and after that affection, how you take a decision whether to go with that plan or whether not to go to that plan, means, or else I can give you an example. This like as if you go for any kind of picnic, I'll take the same example which I took previously. If you go for the picnic, so like you are having two things, either you go by bus, either you go by train. So you decide both the way. If I go with the bus, I'll be having this much expenses. If I go with the train, this much expenses. But if I go by bus, they drop near to the hotel. But if I go with the train, I need to take a auto, I need to take a cab, I need to take any type of vehicles, whatever they'll be allotted. So that vehicle expenses will be also allotted with me. And then afterwards, I need to search for the hotel here and there. So this is what the situation. Even the thing is, when you go for the bus, they drop you near to the hotel or whatever the side location which you have said. I have a two thing. So like into the two thing, either I go with the train or either I go with the bus. So this plan I give to with my, I decide with my friends, and I take, and how it is making a decision making means I give this type of plans to each and every people into my group. So whether they accept this plan, whether they decide ki yes it is okay, or whether they doesn't decide like no we will move by the bus only, or else better it is we'll take by car, we'll be moving with the help of four-wheeler. So like you make it that type of decision making. So the planning make the main zone of a management, because a management starts from the planning. It's a one major scope of a planning, it's a one type of a management, because what planning makes each and everything smoothly and fluently, and which will become very flexible for the people to move from any direction, from one side to some other side. And if you plan each and everything, so ultimately it doesn't create any kind of barriers, because what, and there won't be any kind of it like wrong interventions where whether this thing has been decided or whether this thing has not been decided. So ultimately the thing is what, like you planned that way, so according to that plan you execute that each and every performance into the corrective one. Or else the thing is, or else if my planning is not proper, so ultimately you just missed here and there. Happens, means if you want, you're planning the same, I'll take the same example. If you doesn't plan properly, you are confused, you say no, I'll be going by train, but you have not seen the train is not going over there. The train stops like before 2 stops, and after before that 2 stops you need to go by a cab, or you need to take a car, or whatever it is, or a bus, or any other vehicle you need to take. You have not planned previously, so ultimately the thing is what, you give so much expenses, you pay so much of amount to the people like moving from this, and afterwards ultimately there also when you go to the venue, you reach over there to the venue, finally you are searching for the hotel, so again you take a cab, you search for the hotel, again you pay the charge, that hotel charges will be more. If you have already planned, currently we are having Googles, so into the Google you put a whatever the hotel name whichever you want, and you can go to the number of hotel, and with the help of number of hotel you are getting a rate, like whichever is higher, whichever is low, and with the help of, they gives you the picture of the room. So means if this all facilities are given to you, so you need to use with the help of a technology. You need to accept this type of technology, because with the help of this technology only the thing is you can grow more. Or else the thing is what, it doesn't grow more, you will be shuffling here and there. You are not clear with whatever you are planning to it. You are like confused like to which direction I need to move. So that is the planning make the main sense of a management. Like whenever you being into the organization, the planning is the main sense. So I'll move with the help of step by step to the rest of the point. So this is, I just given you the summary, a little bit elaboration, whatever the contents we are moving today. So at least what, before moving into internal depth with the internal types of theories and all, at least you people would be like, yes, this point was discussed. So at least it becomes very relevant for you to understand whether how the planning is important into the organization with the help of certain type of managemental level and technical level. Both the side you will be learning. Okay, I'll just move step by step. So at least you people will be aware. Now first, managerial planning and goal setting. Now this is a summary which I given it little bit. So at least what are the things you will be learning. A planning is one type of management is one type of managerial way where you are performing, means you are moving into step by step each and everything, and your according to that your goal it has been set, means to catch a goal, okay, to catch a goal, you want to reach one certain goal. For this, the thing is what, planning is most important. Means, as if I said, means previously only I said, there should be certain objectives. Certain objectives of any other person. Means without mission, vision and goal, you cannot perform. If your mission is clear, vision is clear, so finally there is no other thing. And for the mission and vision, do you require a planning? That makes a good sense. Because if the planning is there, so finally then afterwards, once your mission is clear, you know through which direction you need to go, your vision is clear, you think about, you forecast future, and finally once you forecast future, so finally you know it, yes, to which side I need to move. Or as if I'm not clear, so ultimately you shake it. You feel like, yes, I'll be doing MBA, but then afterwards certain people will say, no, go for MCOM. Some other person will say, no, do MCA. Means you are confused. and what you have done, you are still confused what is my qualification. So this makes very much insecure, and you are not clear with which part you need to go. If you are clear, like I have completed my graduation on this field, so according to the after completing my graduation, I can move on this field. So if my this thing would be gone, so ultimately my goal will be totally clear. So the planning makes the main sources where the goals are being properly set. Okay, so now when goals have been properly set, so into once the goals are being set into the planning, so you are having different types of it where the thing is what your goals are being properly set and planning is done properly. First, it is what process of planning it has been there, how manager develops the effective plan, goal setting, types of plans, new approaches to the planning. Means into this we'll be moving into the internal matter, so at least what you will be clearing out like whatever the points are there. So into this first process of planning, the planning where you will be learning a process like how you need to do the planning, the steps of planning, you will be moving into this. Because what, as if you're moving about the future one, you're thinking about the future, the first you'll be getting a proper step of planning, like step by step how you move from A to Z, or as 1 to 10 how you move, this type of step you get. Then afterwards you'll be saying how the manager is very effective in planning, because usually a manager plans each and every work into the organization. He gives certain works to each and every people into the department, and according to that department, the thing is the people work and people perform their own duties. Then afterwards goal setting, once the planning is done properly, so ultimately the thing is each and every people's goals have been properly set. Then we are having different types of plans, we will be moving further. Then afterwards you will be getting new approaches, there will be the new techniques of plan which you can utilization for the future. So these are the different type of managerial plannings and goal setting. Then afterwards, see, I have given you one small example relating to the planning. As if I said, planning is the first step of a management. I have already discussed a management. Into the management, planning makes the first role. It's the first step where the organization are just having, means you can say a seed. It is one type of seed. From your seeds, the organization, into the organization, each and everything, it has been grown into the corrective one. So that is why the thing is the planning is the first step of management. Next, process concerned with the establishment of objectives and analyzing of present limitations to attain such a goal. Into this, where planning is the first step, it has been said, and second part it has been said, it's a process where it's established each and every plan, and with the help of each and every planning, it analyzes each and every work. Means you analyze each and every work, you're getting advantages and disadvantages, where you recognize advantages and disadvantages, and according to that the thing is you plan, and once you plan according to that, you are setting your goal. Because what if you want to make your organization to the pinnacle, the first important it is what you need to do a plan, because without planning you won't be able to set your goals properly. So that is why it's a one type of planning where you set the goal into the corrective one, and with the help of planning it grows for the longer period of time. So this is what it is being said. Now planning process, as we have already seen the different types of points. Okay, so internal to the prime points will be moving. What is the planning process? Like how to do, what to do, who will be doing out. See, there are so many questions here it has been arise, and according to that questions, the thing is you need to plan accordingly. First, it is the question, what should be done? What should be done? Because when you're doing a certain kind of planning, like for organization, if you want to grow something, so first you need to do what should be done. For what should be done to grow more and more. Next, how it should be done, how to be done. Next, who will be responsible? Because once the thing is the work it has been done, so who will be responsible? Who will be taking into the guidance if certain period of time, if it has been created certain wrong, so who will be accepting that thing? So this thing should be there. Then whether the action is to be taken, means whether the thing is if there will be a certain wrong, or whether if whatever the plan it has been, whatever the plan I have been prepared, does I can move to that plan, means does I can put my brains into it, or else the thing is what does I can accept that plan and I can perform my duties further. This thing should be done. Why is to be done? Means I need to have each and every questions, a minute questions with me when I'm doing a planning. Who to be do, whom to be do, why to be do, when to be do, whom shall be doing, who will be responsible responsible of it, each and everything my question will arise. This is the planning process. So whenever we are doing any kind of planning, so process will be starting from this type of questions, and according to this type of questions, the thing is you need to make that work that way. So according to that, the thing is you can make your work properly and you can get your proper goal, because planning is the main thing, is the first steps where you are clearing your goal. So to clear the goal, planning is the main courses. Next, importance of planning. Why planning is important? First important, planning offsets the future changes. Why we do the planning? Because as if we are planning for the future changes, because into the future if this thing would be there, so ultimately if we plan currently only with the help of new technology, with the help of new thoughts, so ultimately it becomes very relevant for the people to cope up on that time on the future, because we never know. Now see, for example, if it's in current zone like 2016, how the things is moving, but do you think after 5 years how it will be moving? After 5 years we will be in the certain air or certain where you can see a different type of technology with the help of different type of people, the way of thoughts, the way of perceptions, the way of people appointing into the organization will be totally different. Currently how appraisals are there, each and everything it has been calculated with the help of certain kind of it, like you are having a software, you are having each and everything. Like previously, I can give you an example. Previously, into the organization, the attendance the people used to get it. The attendance was like we used to write present or in absent. But currently, we are having thumb impression. If the candidate has been came, so he'll be doing a thumb impression. If he is not coming, so there won't be a thumb impression. So this is what a technology which has been came. So like with the help of the technology, with the help of economical way, we need to plan for a future. So that is why without planning for the future, you cannot cope it, or else you cannot survive into the organization, because planning makes the first step where the thing is it change your future. Because if you plan for this zone, so again you plan for the next zone. You plan, okay, like now for example, if you want to decorate your house also, you first plan like this is the way, but you would see parallelly your budget also, because as if you see a budget, you know according to this budget whatever I am thinking out, it won't be happen. But what happened, at least you can just reach to that. You don't reach properly, but at least you can reach to that. And after a certain period of time, you think about it. If my budget is proper, so what I thought, the same painting, the same portrait, I can do it with the help of that type of money. So this is what, if you plan it currently, so for the future sense, it will be changing for the future. Until the future, the thing is what, it will be having certain type of new changes. So that is what we want. Planning offsets the future changes. Next, it helps to manage. It helps in management by an objective, where if I do with the help of planning, so I get a clear objectives what to be done, because objective it is what I need to do, because into the management objective make the big sense. Because without objectives, what are the purpose? Means objectives means in the sense it is what the purpose. Why the thing is it is important. So if I do the proper way of management, so ultimately I will be getting the proper way of purpose. Like this is the where I am performing my duty, my planning into the corrective one. So if I know my purpose, why I am doing this, why I need to do this. So ultimately my proper planning zone will be clear. Next, it helps to coordination, because when I do planning, I asked the queries, or else I ask certain questions to the people. So it gives me good way of coordination, because as if I know if I'll be wrong somewhere, so at least if I interact with the people, so I'll be getting those views, those knowledge from the people, and according to that I can secure myself. Happens as if we plan for the movie. So like finally then 4-5 people say, okay fine, we'll go for the movie. Then after a certain period of time we decide from movie we'll go to McDonald's, or else we go for the restaurant for the food or a lunch or whatever it is. So half of the people say no, let us go somewhere where we can just sit for a while. So at least we don't want to eat, but what we'll do, we'll go for the sea, or we move to the beach side. So this is what you do a planning, and where you coordinate. You take the suggestion of the people, and according to me, half of the people ready, half the people are not ready. So this is what the coordination makes the very good sense, where it helps very good in coordination, when interaction with the people. Next, economic in operational, as if I said, if my objectives has been clear, so ultimately I need to perform economically, means in the sense my business will run properly. My planning, if it has been properly, so my employment will be proper, my employees will be very happy, my workers will be properly good, and ultimately I can give those duties, those rights to the people into the organization who are working accordingly. Because if I can't put much work into my workers, I can't give more, I can't put much work on my employee, because if I give this type of it, so ultimately each and everything doesn't match properly, and it becomes very weird. There was a barriers occurred, so the people can't communicate properly, or else there'll be like a miscommunication in between each and everyone. So that is why I need to think about each and everything. So economic in the operation is to make the sense, if I keep clear properly, so my production will be good, my quality will be good, or else the thing is my no production, no quality, because each and everything it is not proper. Because if I'll be getting a raw material of 5 rupees and the other raw material of 6 rupees, still I'll be thinking about 1 rupee. I'm getting a difference of 1 rupee. But I can see a 5 rupees one, it's not good as compared to 6 rupees. So I need to suggest for the 6 rupees. I won't go, no, it's for the 5 rupees, I need to perform that thing. I go with the help of 6 rupees, because the good quality, if it will be there, so ultimately my production will be good. So that is with this type of thing, you need to plan according to this. So that is why first, as if I said, it's a future changes which you get it. It's your objectives will be get clear. Then afterwards, you are having coordination, as if I said. Next, operational. Then after, next, help to control. It get a very good way to control those resources. If the resources are wasting, so ultimately you can cap that type of resources. So that is where planning makes a very good sense, where if it has been certain, where it has been going very wrong, so ultimately you can control that thing. Next, helps in executive development, where you can see the people who are to the executive level, from the ground level to the upper level, the people who are into the functional, departmental wise, the people who are working. So according to them, the thing is what executive level, executive development, you can develop themselves by certain way of disciplines, certain way of thoughts, certain way of views, each and everything, because if my planning is proper, so ultimately each and everything will be my corrective one. Next, steps. So here it is a different type of steps, as if when you are doing a planning, you need to follow this type of steps. First, it is what determination of an objective. As if I said you previously, there should be the clear-cut objectives. There should be a clear-cut purpose why I am doing out. So because without purpose, you cannot perform further. Means when you want to go to the picnic, so your thought will be of picnic only. Like as if I can't say, let us go for the picnic. So your thoughts are not there, because what, there is no purpose, na? I just said like that. You are planning some longer period of time, so that is a step. If I want to open a business, so the thing is, the first step is what? Why I am opening a business? The question should be arise. So that with the help of the questions, the thing is what? My objectives will be clear. So if my objectives it will be clear, then I can, because of my objectives, my mission will clear, vision and goal will be clear. Because if my mission and vision will be clear, so ultimately I can hatch the goal as soon as possible into the corrective one. So first it is what? Determining the objectives, my step of planning. First, determining of objective. Second, establishment of planning premises. I need to establish of planning premises, means whatever I thought, at least I need to premise, I need to enhance that thing much. Means whatever I planned, I need to perform that thing to the higher level. It is not like I need to establish that thing. Means whatever I plan, I need to execute that thing, because without execution, I cannot perform to the further duties. Determination of alternative course. I can keep, if this is not set, so ultimately I should have some other specific option. So at least according to this, if I'm not having, so I can use that. So this type of system should be there. Determination of alternate courses. Next, evaluation and selection of course of action. I need to evaluate, I need to follow, and then afterwards I need to select, like whatever the plannings I've done, I've written the points, and then after I need to evaluate, like I go by step from upper level to the ground level. I see each and everything, I do the follow-up, and finally after follow-upping, I select some specific one. and according to that specific one, I take this type of points into the corrective one. Means according to the action, not action is not a fighting, means I take it this thing into my organization. So at least I can use this all points into my organization, into my regular where I perform my duties. So I use this type of evaluations and selection. Next, preparation of a derivative plans. I perform an internal where I can derivatives. I can move into internal zone. I need to perform each and every duties into the corrective one, and step by step I need to perform that type of duties. So like I need to prepare the derivative plan, means internally technically plan, I need to perform each and whatever I evaluate, whatever I selected, and according to that the thing is I need to make the plan that way, so at least I can execute it as soon as possible. Then last it is what? Time and sequence. I need to follow the timing and sequence, because timing it is what from this, not that time. Means how, at what time I can use this type of it into the market. So that thing I need to, and sequence wise whatever I'm planning I need to follow by step. Means as if I'm thinking about it to give from the ground level to the upper level, or an upper level to ground level, so I need to follow from each and every step into the proper way of time. As if I said this work will be allotted from this to this, according to this time, so this thing should be performed, because without this thing the thing is my work cannot be moving into the fluid, it will be shuffled here and there. Because not to make a shuffle or not to have a miscommunication to anyone, better it is if I keep a proper steps of planning, then only the thing is my work will be moving into the corrective one. So these are the different types of where I have the steps of planning. We'll move with the help of further. Securing the participation of an employee, because that is most important when I'm performing any kind of plan. So my next step it is what? I want each and every employee should come into the, when I'm performing this type of steps, whenever I'm performing any type of duties, any kind of rights, any kind of responsibility, any kind of authority, so at that time I want an employee to come and be with us, because what? Without employee support, because as if I said you previously only, management doesn't work from only for the one person. If only one person, only planning is there and rest of the thing is not there, so I can't work by properly. I require each and every people. We learned with the help of in the last session, men, material, manpower. These are the four M's, and with the help of these 4 M's, the thing is what? My people work over there, because without men I cannot work, without money I cannot work, without material I cannot work, without money I cannot work. So like with the help of these 4 M's, the thing is what? My work won't move properly. So that is why for all those things, the thing is I require an employee participation, because whenever because of the employee my management is working properly, so management should also involve, and with the management the employee should also involve, he needs to participate on that time. Then considering the strategies, the next step it is what? You need to develop a good way of strategy. You need to develop some innovative ideas, and with the help of innovative ideas you can drive that type of innovative idea, and last but not least providing the follow-ups. Means in the sense whatever the points, whatever you have made with the help of step by step from upper level to down level, you need to take a follow-ups. Means whether my planning into this planning does some points are remaining or some points are balanced, if my planning is not properly, so this thing should be there. So that is why steps of important steps should be there properly whenever I'm doing any kind of planning. Now, as if I said, we'll move to types of planning. I'm having 2 types of planning. One is strategical planning. Next is standing planning. Okay. So like I'll move with the help of strategy planning. Now into this strategy type of planning, it will be first strategy type of planning. First, the most important, it will be for the long term. Okay. Those planning will be for the long term, because strategy is the one type of it where you develop some innovative ideas. Because when you do a planning, like for example, if I say if a product whenever a person is distributing into the market or a branding into the market. So like when the advertisement come into the television, if I kept some model or hero or heroine, if I kept, so ultimately with the help of this only, if they do the production, as if I given you the example, like if the Salman Khan is doing the branding of the product of Thumbs Up, then only the people will be attracted. If I keep a common person, so ultimately the people won't be attracted towards the Thumbs Up. The people are attracted to the both the side here, because both are famous. Thumbs Up is also famous, and parallelly Salman Khan is also famous. So that is these are the type of strategy what you build. So these are the planning process. It has been done into the management where I'm keeping not where I want to brand the product. I'm not keeping any type of common people. I'm keeping some hero or a actress. So according to that hero and actress, the people will be get attracted more. So this is what a strategy. And what I'll do, I'll skip this type for the longer period of time of strategy. I won't be changing from year to year or day to day. I will keep this type of it for the longer period of time. So if I keep for the longer period of time, then only I can complete my goal into the proper. So that is why this is the one type of planning where that is called a strategical planning. I'll go once to this point, so at least with the help of this you will be aware. It's a process of deciding on long-term objectives of an organization, on changing in this objectives of the resources used to attain these objectives or in policies. So that is why which I said it's a long-term process. Strategy planning is a one type of long process, and where you're making your objectives very clear, and that this part of if you're keeping your objectives clear, so ultimately you can accept that type of goal, and once you accept that type of goal, your objectives will be properly performed. Next, I am having types of plans. Okay, now plans I have different. Now plans where I am having two different plans, like standing plan I have, next single use plan I have. So first I'll move with a standing plan. So into the standing plan, what I'll be seeing out, this is the permanent plan, usually into the organization, whenever the plan it has been done, so ultimately this type of planning it has been done first, because what, this is the first part where the thing is what the management runs, your management starts. So that is why when I'm moving with the help of standing plan, so it is already been said the permanent type of planning, permanent one it is the planning. So that is why into the permanent type of planning, what are the points are being cleared, because into the permanent one, if my objectives are clear, if I know each and everything, if I said, objectives should be clear, that is most important, because if my goal it is being set properly, and if I know what to do, what is my purpose, so ultimately that is the most important, because that is why we do the management. Into the management we perform, why we perform a planning? First, to clear my objectives. Next, we clear our policies, our terms and conditions, what we clear. Next, procedures, what are the procedures, what are the things to be accepted, that's it. Next, methods, I'm having different types of methods, where I can use it, because without these methods, the thing is, I cannot perform my duties further. Next, rules, I have those terms and conditions, and with the help of terms and conditions, I perform my each and every, and this is a common plan. It's like in each and every organization, usually these plans are like common, because without this, the thing is, you cannot run with your management. Next, I have with the help of, which I have, just a minute, I'll move. Next, I have with the help of a single-use plan. Single-use plan, it is a short-time period plan where I'm using this type of only the short time which I'm keeping for the particular period of time. So that is why it is called a single-use. Means only one it is being used, and afterwards you're planning for some other which has been new, which has been relevant, which anyone has not been used that type of planning. Next, into this short period of planning or a single use of plan, I'm having different types of problems which has been there. I means problems not, I am just look it out into this matter. I see about budget, because according to the single plan, so ultimately the budget changed, because according to that only I need to perform whatever the goods, whatever the service, whatever I'm providing. So I need to first go with the help of budget, because sometime it may be more, sometime it may be less. Next, programs. I need to follow a programs, means a schedule. According to that schedule only I can perform my duties. Next, projects. The projects are for the certain period of time, because this type of projects are for certain period of time. It's not for the long time, it's only for the short time. Because on the short time only the people will be doing a branding of anything, or you plan that way or for the shorter period of time. You doesn't plan for the longer period of time. If you are planning for the longer, you move with the help of first plan. If you're planning for the like a shorter one, so ultimately you use this thing. You see the budget, you see the program, you see according to the project how it has been there, and last but not least, it is what you're following according to that the strategies. You're developing those innovative ideas according to that, and you're following those ideas. Now, now internally. Now see, these are the points where it has been. You can see it. We went with the help of this. So according to this, here they have given internal points. What are the budgets which you see? Now when you move into the budget, when you're moving into, or you're like when you're seeing a budget, you used as both planning and controlling. These are the two main items you see, because without planning and without controlling devices, you cannot perform any kind of duties. Next, may express in the unit of product, finance, and etc. So budget, whenever I see, so I identify the product, and according to the product I identify the finance, means how much people are using, and according to that finance how much it has been utilizing for the longer. Next, I see the policies which I already said. General statement aims at guiding the thinking, best making decisions. That is, promotion should be from within the company or existing staff. Means this is what a policy, the terms and conditions which it is given. Like when you plan something, so that like for certain period of time it is given, certain period of time it is not given. So this thing you plan. Next procedure, as if I said, your all schedules are there, and according to that procedure, you're following your each and every word and your each and every task. And once you're completing that thing, you're keeping your step by step, and according to step by step, you're following those duties, terms, and conditions. Next, program, as if I said, like program integrates the policy, procedures, etc., which we have already seen. So like according to them only you are performing that type of duty, and once you're performing that type of duty, you are taking this thing into the regular work. Then afterwards, rules, as if I said, like whatever the things we have planned into the future for the single use plan, so that plan, once it has been completed, so according to that plan, the thing is you're performing those rules, and once your rules it has been completed, so that rules you are following that type of rules for the longer period of time. So this is what did. Then afterwards, last, it is what a method. Prescribe the specific, and it is a detail how the task it has been done. So like this type of it has been also been discussed. We are constituting the best method of performing a task. You need to constitute that way, like whenever you're performing any kind of plan. So like whatever the task it has been there. So you need to perform that way that it moves for the higher level. So ultimately this thing should be there. So we learned with the help of different types of plannings. We have went with the types of plannings. A standing plan which we have seen, used plan also we have seen, and according to that we are performing each and every duties. So now we went with the help of two policies. We have went with the help of two types of planning. We learned with that was a plan. Now this is what types of planning we learned with the help of strategy planning, where you have seen that is for the longer period of time, and according to the longer period of time you are following that type of different type of innovative ideas. So according to this is called a strategy planning. There's one more planning, it is called operational planning. It's a type of a planning. So according to their operational planning, it's a one type of a short-term planning which has been here. Okay, it has been said, and this is like according to the operational. Operational, it is what according to the departmental wise you plan according to that way, so that the people and the superior and the subordinators can work into the organization into the corrective one, or else the thing is the task won't be completed, because what you're into this. That is why the thing is it is for the shorter period of time. This type of planning it is given, that is called the operational planning. So here it has been also given, it is known as a tactic, or a short term planning is usually covered for the 1 year. That is for the longer term strategies what we have in, that strategy planning it is for the long term. But when I move with the help of short term plans, that is only for the year. Okay, so that is formulate a particular department. Okay, or the functional area, which I said you that it moves to the functional level individually or a departmental wise individually, so at least the people can perform their duties, and according to the duties which the planning whatever they have done, so that planning will be executed for the longer period of time. So this is called an operational planning. Now, importance of planning, I have given a certain where I have given certain charts. So at least what importance of plans and goal. Like into the organization, goal is important. As if I said, without goal, it is like you cannot perform, and without plan, you cannot perform. So to give that goal and to complete that plan, I have given certain charts. So according to this chart, you are performing why the importance are there into the goal and planning. First, rationalize the rationales for the decisions, standard of performance, and according to this both, the thing is you are giving the guidance to the actions. Means first you are taking a good proper way of decisions. Okay, once you take a proper way of decision, you give a that type of a performance, because into the organization, what you decide, you need to perform that way. Once you get it a perform, finally you both the things guide to the action, means to guide these actions to perform any kind of duties, to perform any kind of plans, to perform any kind, to get certain objectives. So finally you need to perform both the sides. So ultimately I can get it from the three of the sides together, and according to this three sides, the thing is I will be getting a proper way of goal and proper way of planning. According to it, I can set it my each and every duties. So that is why I used to be a rationally for the decision. This is the proper way of decision should be there. Standard of the performance, I need to have certain where there should be certain reputations, or a certain way the people will be having a good way of performance. So at least with this performance they can show the goal. So that is why this should be there, and according to that the people should guide to the action, means there's things you need to execute it for the longer period of time. So this is what it has been said. Now the nature of planning. Into till here we have already seen what are planning. We have like continuously we are moving with the help of planning, and we are clearing out each and every point step by steps into it. And currently, as it's like moving to the different slides, you got to know by how planning is very important to complete the goal. And with the help of goal, once the goal it is being completed, you can move for the further action. So that is why this create a very good impact into the organization, as it has been said, it's the first step. So without the help of the first steps, without the help of this type of planning, you cannot move for the correct decision, or like you cannot move for the corrective action. This thing's been there. Now here the nature of planning it has been given. The background, what are the when you do the planning, why we do the planning, so why it is important to the planning. First, it is what contributing to purpose and objective. As if I said, you get it the main way of purpose, why you are doing a planning, and objectives. Because into the organization, as if I said, a management into the organization, I have a first step that is called the planning. So that is why if I do a planning into the organization, I'll be getting a correct purpose, why I'm doing this, and second, it is an objective. I'll be getting a proper way of goal. I'll be getting a proper way of task to be completed. Next, primacy of planning. I'll be getting a proper way where it is the first important way of a planning. I'll be getting a core idea, efficiency and equity of the plans. These two things will be there. Like I can see the efficiency, because if I'm doing a planning properly, so I can perform that way. If I'm allotting that way, how much you're putting your efforts, your efficiency into it, and how much you are putting those type of accuracy, and according to that means how much you are like involving into the planning. So this is the background, because if you're moving internally to each and everyone, then only the thing is the work will be flowing properly. If the management is not proper, or else if my planning is only not set, ultimately, as if I given you the example, if you go for the picnic, if you are not planning anything, so ultimately each and everything it has been shuffled. But if you plan properly, so ultimately it becomes very convenient for you, very smooth for you, at least to travel, at least to move, at least to interact with those people also into the corrective one. So that is why this create a very good impact with it. Next, as if I said, planning is a continuous process, because you can plan anywhere, anytime into the organization. If you want to take a decision, so at least planning makes a very good step, because planning, without the planning into the organization, the thing is what you cannot complete, or you cannot cope up those work which will be relevant for you. So that is the continuous process, because whenever if you want to develop any type of strategies relating to the employee, or any kind of managemental level, any kind of production level, any departmental level, so at least it's a continuous way of process, where the thing is the service it has been given for the longer one. So at least according to that, at least you can perform your each and every duties into the correct. Next, it is an intellectual process. It is like a intellectual means a individual process which has been given, and according to the individual views, so this process has been accepted for the longer. Next it is what? Goals and plan. As if I said, what are goals? plan. I have given just a little bit type of it meaning where you can utilize this type of planning into it. Okay, so at least according to this, at least it will be relevant for you to understand the core meaning of goal, plan and planning. I just only just given the few lines according to that. Goal, a desired future state that the organization attempts to release. Means it has been said goal, it is what? A future, what you see. As if I said mission, vision and future. You planned for an MBA, so finally currently you have just completed your 12th. So into the 12th you think I'm planning for my MBA, or as I want to become a model. So according to that only you're thinking about the future. And as if you want to go for the future, you move it into that direction only. You don't shuffle here and there. So this is called a goal. Next, a plan which has been a blueprint specifies the resources allocation, schedule and other action necessary for attaining the goal. To get this thing, you are taking the help to get this thing. Okay, to get a plan, you are moving with the help of a goal, because without plan, without goal, the thing is you cannot work properly. So it's a one type of it, as if you want to goal, as if you want to think about the future, or you want to take that type of future. So plan, it is been most important, because without plan you cannot perform your any goal. And last but not least is the planning, where it is being said it's the most two-way where a goal and a plan mix together and you are performing a planning. So this determine the organization goal and the means of achieving them. I'm having a two-way where the thing is what a managemental function works. Means my planning works with the help of this too, because as if I do a planning, I get a proper goal. I can, if my planning is good, I can plan proper, and once I'm planning proper, so I get an organization goal properly, which I can take for the future one. And for the future, I required two important things which is being said. One, it's a fundamental managemental function. Next, controversial managemental function. So these are the two different types of functions which I'm using in the planning. One, it is a systematical way where I'm using like step by step, and second, it is what internally, if I move with the help of a higher level of authorities, where I'm having a contraventions with each and every people, interactions with each and every people, and according to this I'm making my objectives clear. So that is why if I want to make a planning, I'm having these two steps to be completed as soon as possible. So according to that, the thing is I can perform my duties into the higher level authorities. Now, here I given the level of goal and planning and their importance, how the levels are there, and according to the level, you're performing those duties and your goal is clear, and according to goal is clear, you plan that way. So these are the level. So first, as if I say, you are having internal and external way of environment. So into the internal and external way of messages first you give, because this, with the help of this only, the thing is you can perform. Internally, what the thing is, you are accepting from the others, like you are taking the guidance, you are getting a motivate, you become a you take a motivation from the other person. So internally, how you accepted that type of it, and because what a goal and a plan which comes from internally, because if you think for the future, then only, and means to think about future, it's not like you see, but to see and finally you think that thing, yes, I need to perform that thing. So that is called my internal way. And external, it is what, where the people, the customer, the suppliers, the traders, the merchants, how they think, like what we have executed and according to what are their interactions. So there's two type of interaction scenes. So with the help of this, it has been said, first, mission is important, because without mission, I cannot perform anything. So once my mission is clear, so ultimately, strategy, goal, plan, senior manager, organization as a whole. Okay, so as if I'm having a people, a senior manager will be subordinating to this, because without this, because of the senior manager, he'll be doing certain kind of strategies into goal and planning. So once it has been done, second, it is what I'm having a middle level where they're having the tactical, which is for the short term where they perform. So according to this, I'll be having, with the help of divisions and the functions, a group of departmental wise, I'll be having a people, they'll be performing according to that. Next, organization goal plan, that's a lower level management, department and individual, means I'm having the internally, that is the operational level of goal. So I'm having, whenever I'm performing my missions, I need to have a three different types of things I need to perform. Whenever I perform Three, I perform a mission statement. Whenever I think about it, I need to perform three things. First, strategy goal. Second, I have a tactical goal. Second, I have an operational goal. So these are the three different types of goal, and according to the goal, I'm performing my duties and I'm planning according to that. So at least this I can run for the higher level of authorities. So that is why these are the three levels where you're developing the goal and the plan for the longer period of time. So that is why these are the levels. Next, strategy, goals and plans, which I said here. I have given a little bit type of explanation here. Strategy, what are strategy goals and strategy plan, which I said. Strategy goals, where the thing is you're pertaining certain duties, certain rights from the organization, and according to it, you're performing that type of strategies, because the strategies, whatever you're building, it is for the future. It is for the longer period of time, and according to that only you're performing your duty. Planning, it is what you have been goal, whatever you have thought for the future, and according to that you make that plan, and that plan you execute for the longer period of time. Next, I am having it having, now see the hierarchies of mission goal. So I already given to you the where a goal, a proper way of plan. So according to that, at least you can execute it. Now the hierarchies of plan. Now as if I said, start from the top level to the ground level, where I can say a mission starts from, as if I've given you the explanation here only previously, where your mission starts from, just a minute, I'll give you the, wherever your mission starts from strategy goal, tactic goals and operational goals. Means as if I can say, just a minute, as if I can say I have a different people from mission, as if I want, so these are my hierarchies of goal. Whenever I want to grow that kind of goal, whenever I need to accept that kind of duty, so I need to follow all this strategical way, tactical way and operational way, where I can perform my each and every work, where I can see from the top levels to the ground level, where each and every people come together, they execute those work and they perform those duties into the organization. So this is what are hierarchies of an organization goal. Next, the thing is what characteristic of effective and the goal setting. Now, like to set a goal, effective goal, what are the things to be set? First, specify and measurable. Okay, specific and measurable, that should be a proper way of measurable. Next, challenging but realistic. Okay, it should be like a proper way, like whatever you think about the goal, it should be a specific way. You are accepting those rights, those duties, and according to that, the thing is you're thinking about the future. Next, define the time period, like you think about it for the particular period of time, at least I'll be completing this much type of scheduling. So according to that, you wind it up. Next, link to reward, like make that way effective. So at least what the people who gives you the reward, or you accept those rewards, so that performance it has been appraised for the longer period, because then only the thing is what you can set a proper goal according to that. Now I have given certain models. Now from here we are moving with the help of an MBO's process. Okay, so I'll be moving with the help of this MBO's process. So according to that MBO process, just a minute. Okay. Now before moving to this model, I'll just move with the help of an types of what is the MBO. It's a management by an objectives, where a superior and the subordinators come together, they perform those duties together, and once they perform the duties together, those rights and duties are being properly accurated with each and everyone, and according to that right and duty, if it has been distributed among each and everyone, and you're performing those rights and duties and you're performing those tasks, and once your superior and subordinates come together, you clear out your goal with the proper way of objectives, because MBO is one type of it where the people clears from the subordinators to the superior their proper way of objectives, the purpose of a management, why the thing is it is important, the objectives of a management, why the goal it has been set, why the goal it has been properly set. So that is why our MBO makes a very good part. It's a new type of strategies which they have been developed. That's the management by an objectives, where they clear out proper way of goal. They clear each and every item's proper way of goal with the help of two terms, with the help of superior and with the help of subordinate coordinators, they mix together, they perform that task according to that. So that is why this is the very good way, this is a very strong way. So according to that, you can take a feedback, and according to that, the thing is, the employee, it has been given appraised, and according to the appraise, the people are being performed, and they're giving certain duties according to that only. Now, I'll be moving with the help of this models of an MBO process. Now there are having different types of models, and according to the models, the thing is, as if I said, they give you the appraise according to that. So first, it is what you need to set a goal, because when you move to the MBO, where I said into this only MBO, I said you previously, your superior and subordinators come together, they perform the task, and to perform that task, the most important, they need to set a goal, they need to think for the future, and to think for the future, they need to identify these three things: corporate strategy goal, they need to think about the corporate level, then after departmental wise, group level, and individual wise, they need to perform that type of duties. So these three goals they need to set first, because without goal setting, you cannot perform any kind of duties. Next, once the duties have been performed, the next part, it is what, develop the action planning. Means whatever you have thought about it, you need to say, as if I've given you the arrow. So according to this arrow, the thing is what, you need to pursue that type of planning. Means you need to accept that type of planning, and you need to start that type of it to functioning into the departmental wise. Once it has been done, so I'm having the third steps to perform two things. Okay, so with the help of reviewing the progress, means whatever you have planned for action year into development, so that thing you need to take a review, you need to take a follow-up, and once you take a follow, you need to take a corrective action, whether it is moving into the corrective direction or not, or whether if it is not moving into the corrective direction, so why it is not moving. So if it is not moving, so ultimately this action step should be there. So ultimately I can say, my first, it is like setting of goals. Second, I need to develop the action. Third, reviewing the progress, whether I need to review whether it's moving correctly or not. And last but not least, if I'm getting a proper way of review, I can give the appraisal. That is called a performance. So that is called the appraised overall performance. So I can see with the help of, once if I'm getting a proper way of appraisal, so finally I can decide my goals are being properly set. So these are the where the thing is what, the MBOs perform their duties, those rights, and they complete their type of it objectives into the corrective measure from the superior to the subordinators to each and every one. So this is the where the MBO process work, and according to the MBO process work, they perform that type of a duty. So MBO into the organization, and when it is coming into the planning process, so MBO perform a very good role, very effective role into it, where the thing is what, your objectives are getting, the purpose are getting properly cleared. So according to the purpose, if the objectives are clear, so ultimately the thing is, they can move it into the right direction, and you can clear out whatever you have planned, and according to the plan, whatever the goals are being cleared, so that goal will be getting cleared properly. Okay, so this is what I just went about it, this type of it, we went this, what are the types, what is the important, what is the MBOs. So now I'll be moving with the help of SWOT analysis. It's an important part of your planning process, and the important part of a management. From the into the management, this derives a very good where it's important where the people communicates according to that only. So I'll be moving with the help of the SWOT analysis internally as well as the external way of sources. Just a minute. Okay, so now we'll be moving with the help of SWOT analysis. We have already went with the help of proper way of management. We have already seen the internal part, how the management works, how it is very helpful, and how the thing is what the planning, with the help of the planning is the major step. Now, when you're doing a planning, we perform this type of an analyzation. We do with the help of this type of theory. It's a simple way of theory where you analyze internal as well as the external of an environment. Okay, and into this internal external of environment, you perform this type of analysis that is called a SWOT analysis. So into this XW which has been denoted and that comes into internal, and OT which has been denoted that comes into the external way of environment. So that is why with the help of this we perform that type of duties and we perform that type of strategies. So S which has been denoted as in strength, weakness, W which has been denoted, O which is denoted as an opportunity, and threat which has been denominated as an T. So that according to the managemental level, SWOT analysis usually in each and every organization, this type of strategy usually it has been fitted and they perform this according to the rules and regulations, because with this the thing is what proper way of strategies are being built and according to that only the people can be analyzed and people can be classified according to that. They can be appraised according with the help of analyzing this thing. Now, I'll move with the help of different type of stock frame. Now, I've given, see here, I have draw the charts. According to that drawing the chart, at least what you people would be aware. So, as if I say a SWOT analysis frame, a SWOT frame analysis with the help of environmental scan with the help of two things, internal as well as external. Internal will be having our two things will be classified, strength, weakness, opportunity and threat. Now I'm having one matrix way and then after that I'll do explain it to you why the thing is what you mean by strength. Okay, now see, strength it is the thing where, okay, now first it is what a strength. Strength it is what a one type of capability. Like when I'm analyzing each and everything, now into the organization as if I say, I analyze two way of factors. One it is internal as well as the external. So when I move with the help of internal, I have two options which I have, strength and weakness. I calculate two things. If strength into the strength, I see how much the person is very capable, how much that person is very effective, how much that person is very honest. So that will be there. Now you can see each and every people are human, but still everybody's thoughts, perceptions, views, the weakness, the strength, the capability, the capacity, the quality, the quantity, each and every people will be different. So that is why how much that person is having the strength, capable, and according to that the thing is what each and every duties are being performed according to that. So that is why it's one type of it competitive advantages, because we into this strength we need to see the competitive one, because how much that person is very effective, how that person will be into the market for the longer period. So that is why this we are seeing with the help of strength, how much. So like here I have given certain examples, the strength in patent, how much it has been like for any kind of rights which has been given, like if any kind of innovative products it has been given, so how much it has been effective, that type of it has been there. A capability which I said, okay, a firm strength, I given the definition here. A firm's strength are its resources and capability that can be used for developing the competitive advantages. So like as if a strength is a one type of capacity, how much the capacity as if you're having, and according to that capacity how you can survive into the market, into the competitive world. So that is what this is called my strength, where I can utilize. Next I'll move with the help of a weakness. It's a one part of my internal way where I can show myself where you become very weak, as if I said, just a minute. Okay, weakness as if I said, like into as if you are a human, still you are having a capacity, but still what it happens at a certain point you become very weak, you are not able to speak it out. Now for example, you can I'll give you one example relating to it. If a student who scores 80 marks into his examination, like on 80 to 85% he's screwed. So ultimately, but that person is only good in study, but he is having one weakness, he can't face this to the people. So that is what called a weakness, which is there in the internal. He have the capacity, he can grow 80 to 85 or a 90 marks, but still he has a weakness. First means I'm thinking for internally from my side, I'm thinking I can screw myself 80 to 90, but still I can't face the people. That is what is my weaker point. Or else you become very low after seeing those people, or else what had happened, you're not able to face it out, or you start shivering, you are not able to communicate, what you see, you don't understand what their person is saying, you become total blind. So that is what a weakness. Now usually each and every people are human, all are not having that type of capacity which other human are having out, because each and every people are having those weakness, and because of that weakness at least you lose it down, you doesn't perform any type of duties, and according to that the thing is the employee comes into dissatisfaction. So that is why this is what it is being said, the absences of a certain strength are the weakness. As if I said na, the people are not capable that many in each and every zone. At a certain point at least that person becomes a weakness. So I have given certain things where a weaker point it is being given a more importance, that is called a lack of patent protection, a weaker brand name where the people doesn't buy any kind of product. If I say a branding name, so ultimately there have been strength, but if I say a pina cola, so ultimately that becomes a very question mark, what is pina cola? So that is the which you make. Poor reputation among the customers, high cost structures, lack of access of best natural resources, lack of access of the key distribution key, means no connection with anyone, means your product is there, your capacity is there, you are having a fund, but still into the market no one knows you. So this is called a weaker point. So that is why this is where the SWOT analysis, it has been derived with the help of internal as well as an external. So whenever if I'm planning something, so I need to plan according to this type of analyzing, because with the help of this analyzing I can execute according to that type of terms and conditions. So I've continued with the help of same one, where I can say if my strength is proper, so ultimately it's not like that I have certain weaker point. So according to that weaker point, the person becomes very low on that time. So this is where you're getting. Now this comes into the internal part, where we have discussed with the help of two zones. That is the first, it is what a weakness. First it is what a strength. Second it is called a weakness. Now I'm getting an opportunity. Opportunity in the sense I get a one type of opportunity in the market where I can reduce my weakness and I can show my opportunity. Yes, I can do this. This is what an opportunity which you're getting on. So once you get an opportunity, you thread that opportunity, which is after that second part, that is called you're accepting that type of an opportunity. You're performing, yes, I can do it, this thing. So this is what it is called an opportunity. Now see, so that comes into the external part of an environmental, where I can move with the help of two zones. There is first it is what an opportunity, second it is what an threat. So into the opportunity I'll be having a different type of zone. See, the external and environmental analysis may reveal certain new opportunity for the profit and the growth. Such examples are an influencing the customer needs, arrivaling of new technology, looseness of a regulation, and removal of international trade barriers. So this is called a new opportunity. If, for example, I can give you, if my goods are only distributing into India, these are not distributing to the outside of the country because of certain kind of extra duties. So what had happened? So that is my weaker point. I have a strength, I can promote my goods into the market, but I cannot, if I want to give to the global world, or else if I want to make my goods into, if I want to sell my goods to the global world. So to travel to the global world, I require certain kind of duties to be paid, but the duties are very high. I cannot pay. So this type of weakness which I'm having, which I cannot pay. But once if I'm getting an opportunity, means the account means the thing is whatever the trade barriers, means whatever the duties if I want to pay, and the duties only reduce, the duties only leave, so I get an opportunity. So now I can do my trading openly, I can make my profit on that way. So once I'm getting that opportunity, I'm taking that opportunity in my hand. So that is why this is what one type of opportunity which you get it. Okay, just a minute, which I go for the further. Okay, so this is what once I get my opportunity, So once I get my opportunity, second I thread that type of opportunity. Thread means I gap that type of opportunity. I got a good way where I can trade my goods from one country to some other country without any type of custom duty. So this is called, it's a proper way where I can trade. So that is why the change in the external environment also may be present threat to the firm. Some examples are the same example what they have been given from the longer period of time from Sten. This is what steeping into the consumer taste away from the firm product. Next, emerging of the substitutes product, new regulation, increasing the trade barriers. So ultimately there won't be any kind of barriers. Now my trade things will be more. So ultimately I'll get that type of opportunity. So whenever any time if a certain part of it things or certain part of it performance, whenever it has been performed, so like into the organization, when I'm moving with the help of planning process, so into the planning process, SWOT analysis also it's the most important, because when you move into the further to brief your market, to brief your organization into the competitive market, this type of analyzation is a compulsory, because with this only your strategies are being developed with the help of SWOT analysis, that is strength, weakness, opportunity and threat. So where you are having two zones, internal as well as external. Internally you're performing your strength and weakness, and externally you're performing your opportunity and threat, and with the help of this you're performing your duties into the corrective one. So that is why I have given you this type of it weakness, or is this type of it matrix or a chart, you can say SWOT and TOPS. SWOT, TOPS analysis, which has been said with the help of this way, like opportunity and threat, strength, which has been said, strength, which has been given with the help of strength, and strategies. So here I have given a SWOT analysis. According to that, the thing is, it has been decided. So according to that, you can take it. So like I can take it like that and I can take it like that, both the sides. So where I can see my strength and weakness, I can perform here also my strength and weakness. So this is what my TOPS analysis, which is with the help of strength, weakness, opportunity and threat. So this is what it has been said, as if it has been said as so, which has been done with the help of strategy, pursue an opportunity, where I get it both the way. I get a strategy, I have a strategies, and according to the strategies I am developing, I'm getting an opportunity. Because what, if I develop a strategy, I have a capacity to perform a duties, and because if I am having a capacity, I'm performing a duties, I'm getting an opportunity into the market. So at least I can perform my certain kind of new responsibilities. WO, where I'm releasing, overcoming with my weakness, and I'm getting an opportunity to reduce my weakness. Next, ST, that has been stand with the help of, as if I'm having a strength. Once if I'm having a strength, I can take the opportunity as soon as possible according to that. Then after weakness and threat, where I'm like releasing and I'm just releasing out my weakness, and whatever the external part of environment it is, I'm performing that type of duty. So you can say ultimately you are performing both type of external and internal together, and you're mixing out, and according to that you are analyzing each and every process into the step by step to each and every method. So that is why this is also one type of it, where you're using certain kind of good techniques of connecting with the help of people. So this is what where different types of metrics which has been described. Now next, principles of a planning. Now we went with the different types of it, where we learned with the help of different type of plannings, what are planning process, each and everything we went into the internal part, and according to the inner part we got to know how planning is very important. Now I'm having a principles, means those rules you need to follow when you're performing any kind of planning, because when you're performing a planning, we clean with nature, we learn with the help of steps, process also we have learned. So like we learn even importance also. But the thing is what, here there's a certain principles, certain values, certain norms you need to follow when you're performing a planning. First, it is what contributing to your object, as if I said, to get a clear cut where your purpose, your objectives, your goals, then only it has been said properly. So that is where the first important is what, to contribute to the objectives. You need to contribute whatever you have thoughts, whatever you have views, whatever you're pursuing. So according to that, at least what you need to have those views to it. So because if you're putting those views into it properly, so ultimately your objectives will be more clear. Next, based on premises about the future state of an external environment. So based on the premises, means whatever the things have been moving out according to the internal way, the same you need to accept the external way of environment, you need to cope it out both together, and then after you need to perform a duty. Next, limiting the factors. If there is any disadvantages, according to that, at least you need to follow that type of factors. Then afterwards, commitments. As if I said previously, when you are into the corporate zone, or when you are into organization, or when you are into the management, whatever the commitments you give it, it is like you need to fulfill that type of commitment, whether at particular time, whatever if you're giving out, and if you're not giving a particular period of time, so before that only you need to wind it up. So that is why commitments is the most important sense, where the thing is you're performing your duties clearly. So at least what with this, your goal it has been cleared. Next, coordinating the planning. As if I said from previously, when you perform a planning, so when you perform planning, the coordination should be there amongst each and every people, because when in each every organization, the people should have a coordination, because if interaction is not there, so we doesn't know to what to do, when to do, how all each and every work. So at least what if it doesn't perform, so ultimately my work doesn't move properly. So if coordination should be there, so these are my principles. I need to follow this type of principles because it is important whenever I coordinate with the people. So like I need to, these are my principles where I need to perform each and every duties. I have some more principles. So according to that principles, we'll be following the next one. Timing, which I said, principles of a timing. Like timing, it is most important. I need to see by according to this only I need to complete my each and every work. So this thing should be there. Timing makes a very good impact. Next, flexibility, how I can make it very smoothly. So at least there won't be any kind of a problem further to have to handle those work. So at least I need to make a very flexibility. Acceptance, but I need to perform that way of planning. At least the people will be accepting whatever the principles I have been given, whatever the norms are given to it. So that is why these are the nature of planning, where I can principles of a planning, where each and every people perform principles. These are the different type of principle of planning where people perform their proper duties into the corrective one, where each and every duties are being corrective measures with the help of internal as well as external way of environment. Now next I'm going disadvantages of planning. Now there are certain where disadvantages means there are certain disadvantages where it doesn't work properly. Means how much there is the advantages of planning, like we get it a proper way, we get it a clear cut idea, we get getting a proper way of commitment, we are getting a proper way of objectives, we are getting a proper way of goal, we are getting a proper way of flexibilities of when if you plan each and everything, so like you get it a smooth way of it. So and you get it a proper way of things what to be done. So parallelly, even the thing is they have been thought about it, certain disadvantages also of planning there has been, because what happens certain period of time planning is not executed, or else if there is certain wrong thing comes, ultimately the people are not ready to accept that thing. So like they are having certain problems, and the people, and according to that problems, the thing is it has been calculated into dissatisfaction. First, it is what difficulty of accurate planning, because you need to identify an accurate planning, because what happens to make it that accurate means what you're thinking that should be purview for the longer period, but to think, does you think about it, does the people will be accepting that those duties or not? So it becomes very difficult to make an actual planning or an accurate planning, means what you're focusing on that thing and you're performing. Usually whenever you plan, your planning is improper, but still you need to think whether half the people are ready to accept, half the people are not ready to accept. So that is why it creates a very something misunderstanding or miscommunication between the people. So that is why this creates difficulties into it. Second, premium on the presence. The people who are being currently present, at least the thing is they doesn't accept this type of planning, or else they doesn't give certain kind of involvements into it. So that is this also create a premiums of presence. Next, past decision, what they have been pastly whatever they have decided. So at least to take the new, means for example, whatever the new technology is going on, but we plan that better it is, whatever the new technology, if whatever the new technology if I'm keeping, I want only 2 people, but the old technology if I'm keeping, I want 8 people. So better it is to hire the rest 6 people. When I'm seeing the differences, the better it is to hire 6 people. I only require the 2 people. But the people are not ready to accept that type of new technology, because they think about it whether they will leave us, or whether this type of it they will be switching to some other department. So that is what becomes very difficulty for the people to move with this type of it. So if whatever the past it has been decided, so currently these people are not ready to accept that type of planning. Administrative problems, the back office or a management, they are having those problems. They doesn't accept it whatever the new plannings are been given. So at least what half the people accepted, half the people said no, not to perform this and all, each and every, like little bit, if the expenses are more, whatever the duties, each and everything they think about it. Next, human problem. Obviously human are creating so many problems, as we are also human. So usually half the people accepted no, why to perform them. Is there are so many humans, as if I said you previously, humans are having different thoughts, different views, different perceptions. So like I can't say to each and every people, no, you need to perform this thing only, it is like compulsory you need to perform this thing. I cannot say, and I cannot control the brain also. No, your brain will only work regarding to this, your brain won't be working regarding to this. So that is why to make, so that becomes very difficulty for the people, whatever if I'm planning, to accept that thing. So that is why this create a human problem. Then rapid changes. Now if I say to complete it or just leave that work and you need to change this thing, so it creates a very disadvantage. The people is not ready to perform that type of duties. Last is expenses, and it takes a time because it takes us so many expenses to change little bit, to perform new type of planning. So it takes expenses, because to buy that new technology and to whatever the previous technology was, it makes a difference. What the new previous technology was, that was cost to 50,000, but currently I'm giving a new technology takes 1 lakh rupees. So people are not ready to accept it. So that is why it becomes the worst part. It has become very expensive, and you wasting your time more into it, because when you plan that way, so half the people are not ready, half the people are ready. You are confused. You're wasting your whole time. So with the help of this, it creates a certain disadvantages, certain limitations according to the planning. Have a certain where now the next point, it is about the forecasting. Where forecasting, which I said, forecasting means it's a one type of systematical attempt to probe the future by interference from knowing the fact. It forces the possible change in order to bring the accuracy and exactness into the decision. So forecasting, it is what you're planning for the future. You're attempting for the future, means whatever you have decided, and according to that decisions, you're accepting that type of only, and you're performing your each and every duties for the long, and you're performing proper way of decision. You are taking corrective decision according to that. So that is a forecasting. It's a important way where you thinking about. So it is a systematical way where you think about future. You need just identify with the help of future. So at least you get a proper way of exactness. Exactness means a proper accuracy, that yes, it will be performing this way only. So this is called a way of forecasting. It has been performed. Next, importance of forecasting. Why we forecast usually? Because in importance of planning, you get a proper way of planning. In planning, usually we forecast, because whenever you're performing any kind of plan, till the time you doesn't see the future, you cannot be identified. So that is why the planning makes a proper way. Next, exactness in the managerial decision, as if I said, to get it a proper way of managemental decision, whether to accept, whether to reject, said this. If I forecast the future, if I enhance the future, so ultimately whether to accept or whether not to reject it, so this can be decided on that time. So it creates a very proper way where importance, whether to accept, whether to reject. So that is why if we forecast, so ultimately. So as if I given you the example, if we plan for a picnic, or so we plan, like pre-planned previously only. So like there are some other people, whether they decide whether they are ready to come, or whether they have the people they doesn't ready to come. So that is why they forecast that way. Next, singleness of the purpose is developed. Now, if you forecast properly, so ultimately, if you thinking about the future, so ultimately there doesn't arise the rest of the questions, because already what we have thought, that only you're expecting that thing, and you're accepting that thing only for the long period. Next, controlling is facilitate, like whatever the things you have been suggested, so according to that you control that only, and you perform your duties according to that. And then it contribute to business success, because as if my forecasting is proper, so ultimately I know, because already I know what is my future, and because once you know the future, your goal is totally clear, and to clear that type of goal, you need to move it into the corrective one. If you move it corrective one, so ultimately the thing is the business will be turned into the profit only. It won't be into the negative one. It will be treat as a positive only. So like you will be getting a good way of contributions into the business. Now we'll be moving to the next point, that is called the decision making. So decision making is an important, where the thing is into the management decision making is the main importance. So because into the organization, without whenever if it doesn't discuss to anyone, and if you're not relevantly you're not able to answer, so ultimately that doesn't make the sense. And so that is why it creates a very good impact. Decision making is important. Now see, I'm giving you the decision making. What do you mean by decision? It's a process by which manager responds to the opportunity and threat by analyzing the options and making the decision about the goal and the course of action. So as if once we went with the help of SWOT analysis, and according to the SWOT analysis, the thing is each and everything, it has been decided whether to accept it, that thing, whether to reject that thing, or as if the opportunity it has been gapped, so whether this opportunity it has been gapped properly. So ultimately it will be decision making type, whether to accept that type of or whether to reject. So that is why this create a very good impact of decision making out. Now decision in response to the opportunity, the two way where you decide, and according to two way of decisions, the thing is what you are making your decision properly. So ultimately your performance will be properly good. So first, when you're responding to an opportunity, when you're seeing an opportunity, the way to improve the organization performance. If your organization performance is good, so ultimately the thing is you are getting a proper way of opportunity, and according to that opportunity you are performing your duties properly. Threat occurs when managers are impacted by adversely events to the organization. So like the decisions are to be taken when the opportunities, once the opportunity has been given, so ultimately you thread that opportunity according how you thread that, how you gap that opportunity, the decisions are be taken according to that. So once if the decision making should be there into the organization, because planning also we have previously only seen planning is a one type of decision making, because planning is a thing where you understand, you perform those duties, new rights, new responsibilities, and then finally it's a one type of continuous process. Whatever you're planning, so your subordinate, your employee should accept. There should be a proper way of decision making, whether to accept, whether to reject. This type of system should be there, because if it is this type of system, if it has been clear, so ultimately you can move it, you can flow properly. Now types of decision making, I'm having different types of decision making. So according to that different types of decision making, you can perform your duties according to that. First is programmed decision, that is what a routine, almost automatic process, means everyday's process it is in there, and according to the everyday process, the thing is what your decision become more effective. So that is why this is one type of it, where a programmed decision. Non-programmed decision, it is the unusual situations, you can say, that have been not been addressed, means still it has been not cleared. So that is why this type of situation is called non-programmed decision, where you are not clear, and according to you're not clear, you're performing your duties according to that. So I'm having a systematical wise where I'm moving, because already it has been set here. So according, if it is my set, so I can take a decision properly. Here it is my not set, as if I'm going anyhow and I'm performing that way. So I can give the example here. Example here of programming, I can say deciding to reorder the office supplies. Like whatever the duties, whatever whether to get orders into the organization. So this is like orderly I'm performing each and every day. But when I'm moving with a non-programmed decision, that is should the firm invest in the new technology, means the question arises. So here you are having so many questions because situation has not been seen. Here already the situation has been automatically performed, and according to automatically if it is performed, so it becomes very decision making type. Here it is like you need to perform, where you need to accept it, you need to think whether to accept or whether not to move further. Next, see here the decision making steps are given where it goes from the higher level to the ground level, and finally the once you get it a feedback you move it again. Okay, just a minute. Okay, so these are the decision making steps where you're moving from the upper level to the ground level. Now you're recognizing the needs of decision. Whenever if it is a decision making, so ultimately you need to see how it has been recognized, how you are getting those type of information. First, what are to be decision, what are to be decided. So like the decision when you are doing, so you need to recognize what are the things to be decided. Next, frame the problems. When you want to decide, when you are decision making, so ultimately you need to frame the problems, whether the problems, what are the different problems, you need to make a chart according to that. So once you make a chart, second, generate the alternative, assess an alternative. You need to generate something which is relevant to that or something which is different to that, because what, as if you are not accepting that thing, so at least you're taking and you're taking a new one, so at least you need to keep certain alternative. Then choose amongst the alternative, like whatever the alternatives you have thought, so according to that alternative you need to select one. So that is important. Once you have done, implement that type of it, whatever you have chosen, whatever you have took a decision, and according to that you need to choose. Means according to that you implement that thing, you perform that thing. Once you perform, so finally you learn with the help of an feedback. You are getting proper way of feedback. Once you are getting a feedback, finally it's the proper way where you can recognize the needs of decisions from ground level to the upper level. So with the help of this arrows, you can see it out how it is being respond from upper level to the ground level to the step by step, and finally once you're getting a feedback, so that feedback again it has been recognized for the proper way of decision. So these are the steps where you're performing with the help of decision making. So here also it is given certain where what we have explained, what I have explained here. So okay, so this is first, it is what recognizing the needs. You need to recognize, you need to identify each and everything. Once you recognize, you're getting a generate, then alternative, you're getting a certain where a new difference, and according to that the thing is you need to develop that kind of ideas. You need to evaluate that type of ideas, whatever the alternatives, you need to be a follower. Once you took a follow-up, so finally you can choose amongst whatever alternatives you are getting, means you list it out those things. Once you list it out, so according to that you need to, once you list it out whatever the items, you list that type of item, and according to that you implement, you give to each and every people into the organization, you accept that type of ideas. Once you accepted that type of ideas, you need to take a feedback whether this planning process or a decision making process it is moving or not, the steps are moving properly. Once if it has been completed, so again you can take it that thing into the correction. Now here it is what next point, group decision making. Now into the organization, most important is what, group decision making. Into the organization, decisions are usually done with the help of group, because what group thinks, because into the organization, as if I said, not a one person runs to the whole industry. They are having the group of the people who commence together, and then after they perform those duties, and according to that duties, the thing is they are performing those tasks and clearing out that goal with the help of proper planning. So that is why the thing is this type of group discussion, and with the help of group deciding, many decisions is made by the group settings. So that is why when the groups are setting, so their skills, their abilities, their thoughts, their views, their perceptions, each and everything are being calculated. But there are certain disadvantages also, because when you into decision making, group decision making, there are certain disadvantages also with the group. First, it is what group thinking. So it becomes very difficulty, because when the group thinks, when a group of the people thinks together, so it becomes very difficulty to accept those each and every views. And once to accept that type of, because all are to the higher level, So like to enhance that type of it, so ultimately it becomes very difficult, or they are like interlinked and all are true. So at that time it becomes very difficulty to take a proper way of decision, because all are saying yes, I will go to this, we'll go to that, we'll go for here, we'll go for here. So ultimately all are true into that time, because into that time only this all things can be fit, but it becomes very difficulty to take a proper way of decision from which direction from this group of the members to take any kind of attack, any kind of it group members, you need to accept one thing and you need to pour that performance. So now there I'm having different types of techniques. Now there's a once if you want to decision making, if you want to decide a proper way, if your proper way of decision making, so there are different types of techniques. So according to the different types of techniques, you need to perform their duties and according to their task. So like according to it, now decision making techniques based according to the nature of the problem. Like when a techniques comes with the help of one problems. To cope up with that problem, the first important, you need to see with the help of topics, what are the problems, what are the things, situation, the process, each and everything you need to think. If you require to draw a chart, so or a flow chart or a graph, so according to that you can draw it, and whatever the techniques according to that you need to perform. If we, for example, if there are some decision making, when you want to move into the one directions, you can draw the chart, and according to draw the chart you can take it the graph, and according to that graph the thing is you can think whether this corrective measure is good, whether this corrective measure is good. If you play x and 0, so on that time what you doesn't, and to make that type of decision making, what you do x is 0. Till the time it doesn't perform the all three lines or all the this line or the all the that line, it does not create into the corrective. So that is why for the making a decision making, you require the proper techniques to understand the situation, the problems, and according to that the thing is you need to perform that way. Now, you are having once if means if you want to have a proper way of decision making techniques, first it is what a group decision. As if I said, you can sit properly into the group, and according to the group, you need to get certain problems, certain situations. You can put it into it, and then afterwards you can take the views of the people. Because according to taking the views of the people, at least you can decide it whether to accept or whether to reject. So that is why you get it, because a certain period of time if you're confused, so at least this create a very good impact to get interaction with the people. So in the organization where I'm having group of the people, so I'm accepting those their rights, those duties, and I'm asking them the way how to be a proper, so according to that I can be a proper way of decision making. That is called my group discussion matters making. So that is what is called a group problem solving cast the manager in the role of facilitators and consultants. It's a one type of it where a people who consult, or whether it's a facilitator, means who are the ordering of the people, who are being the main person of the people, and according to that you're performing those duties according to that only. So this is what a decision making technique. For first it is what you can take a decision making with the help of group. Next I'm having the nominal group techniques, where you're generating those ideas into the nominal way, where you're generating those ideas, you're evaluating those ideas, you're having those written materials, which is also called NGT, and nominal group techniques. It is a way you're generating your ideas, your views according to that, and you're performing like your task, whatever it is given to you. You see those situations, according to it thing you react. So once if this thing it has been proper, so that is why this becomes a very good where these are the very good techniques where at least you can get a proper way of decision making, whether to accept or whether to reject that type of it problems. So that is why this is what it has been said. So like here you can say it has been affecting the return questions, ideas and reaction of the group of the members. So this is a one type of a nominal group techniques. Next it is what Delphi techniques. Delphi techniques where you are sitting, it's a systematical way where you are having a face interaction with the people and you're asking those questions, those views, those questions, those queries, and according to that queries and questions, the thing is what, you're getting an interaction with the people, and according to that you're deciding, you're taking that type of decision whether to accept it or whether to remove that thing, or whether not to follow that type of rules and regulations. So this is what usually, for this you require an expert opinion, which has been given to it on the last point, that you require the expert opinion, because the people who are having the experience of last so many years, so at least with the help of interaction, because when you are into management, into the management, to take a corrective decision and to take accepted that type of decision making, you require the people who will be into the proper way of decision making, means who can identify the people with the help of face. Now, as if I said, like for example, when you are with your friends, you know, you planned for the movie near to your house. So we planned, like 10 people came, and 10 people was planned, and finally 2 people has came. So finally you said the 2 people have came. How many the people was planned? 10. Now into that only 2 people has came. So finally the rest of 8 people, you got to know by this time, they won't be coming out. So the 2 people go ahead and see the movie. Next time when again the thing is the same, when you plan, the same they does with this thing, the 2 or 3 people they comes, and then after they see the movie. So if this thing every time it has been done, third or a fourth time you never invite to that person, because you know they are not coming. So better it is if you doesn't invite. So this is what you are getting interaction between each and everyone. But this is what an informal way of communication. But when you are into the managemental level, a managerial level, so on that time you require some expertise opinion, where you can have an interaction between each and every people. Then only the thing is what, you can grow yourself into the proper way of direction, or else there will be a certain kind of it where barriers according to it, like you are not clear with what kind of decisions to be taken, or the what type of techniques to be used, like to make it a proper way of decisions. Next, statistical aggregation, where I've seen where you are doing with the help of certain mathematical zone, and with the help of mathematical zone you are being, whether it is incorrect, whether you are seeing into the positive zone or whether you are seeing in the negative zone. So this type of things you accepted out, where I have said to you, you are not performing those reports or a group meeting, you are just taking the opinion of the people of a Delphi technique, means the opinion of the people, and according to the opinion of the people, you are performing that type of it where the individually you are accrediting the people, and according to the accrediting, the thing is you interact with that way, and you are performing that type of duties, you are performing that type of techniques, and whether you are accepting or whether you doesn't move it further. So these are the different types of techniques of statistical aggregation. Then after brainstorming, where you are thinking about future, you are thinking into your brain, you are using your brain smart, you are developing those ideas into your brain, you are taking the group ideas also. So this is the one type of a brainstorming technique, where as if you want to be into the decision making process, if you want to be a proper way of decision, so at least what you can use this type of also techniques, that is called a brainstorming techniques. Now it is one type of it idea generated from the group members, where each and every group member sit together, they give their views into it, and once they give the views, you accepted their views, and you're performing with the help of a proper way of effective uses of this type of techniques. And then afterwards you solve the problem. Once you solve the problem, this is where then afterwards you can decide it whether to accept it, whether not to accept it, this type of technique. So this is a one type of technique, that's the brainstorming techniques which is being said. Okay, so like brainstorming, it is also been said, it's very simple. Okay, it is very simple. It is enthusiastic, where you share your views, your ideas, where you interact with the people. So it's a very good way where you are completing out your problems, you're solving out of your problems into the smaller way, and you're getting a corrective decision according to it. So like these are the different 5 types of techniques, and with the help of 5 types of techniques, the thing is you can use it out, and according to it you can take a proper way of decisions. Now there are other techniques which are unstructured, which I already said, it's a freewheeling, in which ideas are produced and expressed by anyone at any time. It's enjoyable. So I have given the colored here. It is an enjoyable but are often unuseful, because the member being to critics critics ideas. This is one type of enjoy because you are is unethically what you're performing, or else you are not say unethically, I can say the sometimes informal way of communication. So here you are just enjoying yourself. The further what different techniques what we get, where nominal techniques, group discussions, each and everything, that was certain a professional way. But when you're moving into this type of technique, other techniques where it's an unprofessional way, it is not, it's a one type of informal way of communication where you communicate. So that is why it is like you just express your views, your ideas, and according to that the thing is you're performing. You're not a certain type of expertise or in certain kind of higher level of authorities who is sharing to it. It is just you're giving those views and all, and according to it you can take a decision whether you need to accept, whether not to accept. So that is why it's called one type of other techniques which is being said. Now planning, that is why I can move it on the last slide, that is planning. Just a minute. Planning in the new workplace. Now have a strong, now like planning, that is what it is being said, it is an important zone where the thing is what each and everything it has been covered step by step. First, having a strong mission statement and vision already, because planning, if you're working, if into the workplace, if you're keeping on, so it will be the most important where it's clear. Now this all points which clears your whole slides, what we have started from planning to the end. Okay, so into this, first it is to have the strong mission statement and vision, which if you do the proper way of planning, so ultimately your mission will be clear, your vision will be clear, your goal will be clear, and it will be a strong way where you're performing. Next, stretch the sketch of goals for the excellency, means you perform that way the goal, at least you sketch that way, means you need to take that type of opportunity into your hand, you want to take that type of objectives into your hand. Establish a culture that encourages the learning. You make that type of planning, at least the culture, what this type of planning they will be make with the help of it for the longer period of time, and this culture they accept learning, means because what into the corporate zone usually you will learn, because whatever the things that has been done, whether from the higher level to the upper level or to the ground level, you learn in each and every sense. So you accept that time into your regular way of culture. So this is the one type of it. Next, embark events and reach the plan. You perform that way in the phenomenal way. Next, utilize the temporary task force. Whatever the thing is, what temporary, whatever the work it has been given. So at least you accept that type of force, whatever the burden it is given to you. So because according to that only you will perform your duties into the corrective one. Last, planning still starts the stop at the top. Okay, so it starts from the end, but it stops till the help of a top management. So that is what means a planning comes from the ground level to the upper level it is go. So that is why I have highlighted those 3 lines point. Planning come alive when employees are involved in setting goals and determines the means to reach them. So that is a planning. The planning word comes from an alive. It comes a certain where it comes alive from the human, from the employee who are into the organization. Because what a planning, it is not like simple what I plan, but the thing is to execute this, I have an employee. And to an employee who accept this type of planning and they clear it out certain goals, certain responsibilities into the corrective one, and they completed out the objectives of the organization, and they kept with the help of this, the thing is what they kept the organization into the pinnacle. So that is with this type of a planning, it is the most important thing. So that is a planning is given a new workplace, because the planning makes a very good sense into the organization. It's the one part of it management. So that is why this is what set into the planning. So what we have learned into the today's sessions, we learned with the help of planning, what are different types of planning, we learned with the help of steps of planning, we learned how the decisions are important into when, because when you plan, so does the other people it is ready to decide on their decision making on whether they are accepting, whether they are rejecting this. We learn with the help of SWOT analysis with the help of internal, external way of environment, because that's the main thing, because from when you plan, you develop certain strategies, and with the help of the strategies, you are completing out with that goal, because you want that type of goal. So that is why you perform that type of planning. So to plan, so at least you require to perform your proper way of environment. That is called the SWOT analysis, what you perform. That is the strength, weakness, opportunity and threat, which is called internal as well as external way of environment. So your internal comes into your strength and weakness, and external which comes into the opportunity and threat. So that is why these are the four different types of zone, because it is important into the organization, because without this the thing is what you cannot perform your planning corrective one, or else the thing is it will be shuffled here and there. So that is why we have learned into each and every point. So that is why it has a clear cut statement of your vision, whatever you see, whatever you feel, whatever according to that the thing is you're planning for the longer period of time. So that is why with this we have wind it up with the help of this point, which is a planning. So planning makes the best zone, a main part of it. Now into the next session also we will be moving with the help of different types of, we learn planning, next we'll be moving with the organizing, controlling, stuffing, different depths of it. So according to that, a planning process, it will be completed. A planning components, because management in so not planning, it's a management components will be completed, because this type only, once if these components have been clear, then only I can organize my organization into the proper way, and I can complete my work, and whatever the objectives will be there, it will be my clear. Okay, we also learn with one more point into this, that is called an MBO, which is called management by an objectives. So into the organization, management have two types of it. Management are of two types, from the superior and the subordinators. They both come together and they perform that type of it objectives. So once if the objectives, their goals are clear, so ultimately they can perform their duties into the corrective one. So that is why this create a very good impact. This create a very good impact into it. So at least, so with this parallelly, they can perform their duties, their tasks according to that, and then afterwards they can perform that type of it into the longer period of time. Because whenever you're performing any kind of planning, whether it will be for the short term or whether it can be for the long term. If you think for the short term, so it will be for the particular period of time. But into that, you need to identify the budget process, each and everything, what we have seen. But if it is for the long term, so ultimately it will for the long term, you see the objectives, those goal, vision, mission, each and everything, because that will be the long term process. But when I'm seeing for the short term, so I only schedule for the certain particular period of time. So this I see. So we learned with the two type of planning, strategy planning and operational planning. Strategies where you develop for the longer period of time, and operational which is very shorter period of time, where you see a departmental wise where you're performing a different type of planning, and strategy for the top level where you're performing for the longer period of time. So this is was there for the different types of planning. Just a minute. Okay, so like we went today with the help of managerial setting planning, managerial planning, where this was a major role. Process also is important. How the manager develops the effective planning is important. The goal setting is important. Types of planning and the new approaches of planning. These are the different types of plans. So we went with the help of planning. Planning, we learned a main thing, with the help of each and everything, where you establish a proper way of goal, proper way of opportunity, each and everything. And with the help of this, you analyze whether to accept, whether not to accept this thing. Then afterwards, we went with the help of a planning process. Like whenever you're planning, you need to think about it, who to do, whom to do, why to do, when to do. Means the question should arise, because then only you can perform your task properly. Because if your questions are not there, so ultimately that doesn't make the sense. Because if another person asks to you, why you have accepted this thing, so there should be a certain way you need to give those answers to this. So that is why the process should be important. It has been there. We learned the importance, why the importance of planning it is most important, because you require to set for the future, for the longer period of time. There will be the good way of communication, because as if we have seen a decision making into it, where you are having a group discussions, group way of thoughts and all. So because of this group way of thought, if you are having the good interaction with each and every people, then only it becomes very good for you at least to communicate with each and everyone. Or else the thing is, it creates a very problem. so at least what you won't be able to cope it. So that is why the thing is this is important, and especially it is what objectives which has been, they have been clearly they have been given the focus on the objectives, because without objectives into the organization you cannot work properly. So that is why then afterwards coordinations, it has been said, economical operation, as if I say, if my planning is proper, so ultimately my qualities, my quantities, my products, I won't be getting a loss, my each and everything will be moving smoothly, because already we have been seen move with the help of flexibility. So with the help of the planning, at least my each and everything will be